Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back. So today we're watching another revert story, and this one is honestly something very special that we haven't seen before, because this sister is 16 years old and has been thinking about this since she was 12. And not just that she's young, what also makes it special is that nobody brought Islam to her. She found it herself, after asking a lot of questions about life, about God, about purpose. But nobody around her could answer her questions. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and feel free to check our other stories on the channel. We have more of where this came from. So let's get into it, and then we'll come back after for a few words, inshallah.
Hello everyone, I am Nilka, I'm 6 years old, almost 17, and this is my story from how I converted to Islam at such a young age. First thing first, I grew up in a really strict Christian household, and no offense to my parents because I love them, but I had questions on a very young age about religion, about life, about everything, and I didn't really get answers in Christianity from my parents, from other Christian people. So that made me looking for some answers on my questions, and I get them in Islam. So the first time I started reading the Quran was when I was 12 years old, pretty young, but funny enough, my father gave the Quran to me because he was like, you have interest in other religions, not on the base of converting, but like I love other cultures, I love religions, I love everything about it. So my father thought, maybe I can give her a Quran and she can compare it to the Bible. And so he gave it to me, but instead of like comparing it to the Bible, I started reading, you know. And he was like, oh no, we're not gonna do that. So he took it away from me, and I didn't really thought about it until I was 14. Like, I was 12 when I first read it, and I grew up in a really strict Christian household, and something like converting wasn't for me because I know how my parents would react when I would convert. So I didn't thought about it, and I lived my life. I was a Christian girl. I believed in it, but I have my questions. But I didn't ask that much because I was 14. I was a teenage. I am a teenage still, but I was busy with other things. But then I became 14 years old, or 15, no, 14 years old, and then I get more and more questions, bigger questions. I start asking them my parents, but not also my parents, but also other Christian people, and I again didn't get answers. So I was like, why you don't have answers on my question? They are just normal questions about life, about God, about and I get answers, but not like the way I would see the answer to my question. So that made me start looking at Islam again. And I was older, so it was a lot easier for me. It was not that easy, but it was easier. And I started looking again, start reading the Quran on my phone because I didn't have the Quran because my father took it away. I started reading, and the first thing I read was Surah Al-Fatiha, and I don't know what it was, but Surah attracts me so much, and until this day, I don't know why, but especially the last ayats, I love them, and it attracts me. It was magical, let's say. And I remember something, and I printed that surah out and stick it on my door. And my father was like, well, I don't know, we're not gonna do this. We are Christian. We have verses in the Bible that are way more beautiful than this. No, we're not gonna do this. And I was like, okay. I was 14 at that time. And from that moment, I started doing my research. I wouldn't say that it was on a daily basis because I was still young and I was living my life, But I have my questions, and I was looking in Islam for answers. And when I was 50 years old, I really wanted to have a Quran because I had it already on my phone, but I wanted like the book. I wanted Quran so badly, and I remember that was like, let me say, that was the point that I converted to Islam. I didn't really pray for the Quran. I was like, it popped up in my mind. I was thinking about it, and just 1 week after I was thinking about it, I was walking in the city, and I saw like a stand with Qurans with Muslims telling about the religion, and I was like, Normally I saw that only Christians doing it. I was like, what? So I walked to them and I was like, hi, and they asked me if I was believing something, and I said, yeah, I'm Christian, and we started discussing, talking about religion, about Islam, about Christianity, and it was like, yeah, can I give you a Quran? I was like, yes, of course. I told him what I was thinking that week, and I was like, this is the answer, this is the answer. And I said to that man, yeah, I want the Quran. And he gave it to me, and we talked more and more about religion, about the differences. And he was like, you are already believing it, so why don't take your shahada? And I was, yeah, I thought, why not? I was thinking about it, and I didn't plan it that day, but I was like, yeah, I thought about Islam from the age that I was 12, and I was like, yeah, why not? And so I took my shahada, and that was actually when my journey began, because when my parents heard about it, they were like, no, we're not gonna do it. You're a Christian, you stay Christian until death, and nothing other.
So, brothers and sisters, the thing that gets me about this story was how young she was when her questions started. At 12 years old, asking about God, about life, about purpose, and not getting real answers, and instead of just letting that go away, as what most people do, she kept searching. That kind of sincerity at that age is really not normal. That's something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala places in a person. And the details about her father actually being the one who gave her the Quran, thinking she would just compare it to the Bible and move on with her life, that's the moment where you can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala working through people, even when they don't intend to. The Quran stand that appeared exactly at the week she had been thinking about getting a physical Quran, after years of reading it on her phone, that's really not a coincidence. These moments where things all align together are something you hear in almost every revert story, and it never gets old. Because they show that when someone is genuinely searching, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends them an answer. And now she is dealing with her parents, being very, very against it, and also a lot of people are judging her. And having to navigate all of this at 16 years old is very heavy. It's a burden for someone at such a young age. And it takes real conviction to hold firm in that situation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for her and soften the hearts of the people around her. And Jazakumullah, brothers and sisters, for watching. I'll see you in the next one, inshallah.